This is Earth's ultimate survival show. We've secretly replaced the mayor of a small town with a holographic dolphin. Let's see how long it takes before someone notices. That's how the week started. On Earth, this kind of nonsense was just Tuesday. The line between reality and reality show had officially disintegrated sometime between the Great Influencer Migration of 2039 and the Global Prank Accord of 2041. So when the sky over Los Angeles suddenly cracked open like a galactic egg and 37 alien warships descended with a sound like thunder gargling lava, the immediate reaction wasn't terror, it was applause. Phones flew into the air, live streams lit up, hashtags exploded. Yo, is this part of that new Netflix AR series? Bro, that's some sick rendering. Is that Unreal 9? I swear if Miss Beast is behind this again. The ships hovered with ominous grace, casting shadows that blotted out the sun. One of them projected a symbol, glowing, spinning, alien, and an eerie hum began to pulse through the atmosphere. A woman in yoga pants jogged by, sipping her oat milk latte. She looked up, squinted, and muttered, "Nice graphics," before crossing the street to avoid a film crew. Meanwhile, up in orbit, Commander Thraak of the Vrox Dominion adjusted his battle armor and cleared his throat. This was it. The moment he'd trained for since larva stage. Conquering a Class 7 civilization, his name would be etched into the sky scrolls, songs would be sung of his glorious triumph. He raised his hand to initiate contact with the Earthian leaders. But no signal came. Only emojis. A human hacked their frequency, somehow, and sent a waving cat gif, followed by a crying, laughing face and a welcome banner with sparkles. Commander Thraak blinked all 7 of his eyes. What is the meaning of this? His communication officer, Splarg, hesitated. Sir, the Earthlings appear to think this is entertainment. Entertainment? We're here to invade. According to their data net, they believe this is a promotional stunt for a streaming platform called Hulu? Hulu, corrected another officer. Thraak stared at the live feed coming from one of their scout drones. A man in a chicken costume was breakdancing beneath the shadow of their death cruiser. Children were taking selfies with the laser cannons in the background. A teenager looked directly at the camera and said, "Yo, aliens, subscribe to my channel. New prank video dropping tonight." Thraak slammed a tentacle onto the console. Deploy the intimidation broadcast. The mothership's speakers boomed a terrifying synthetic voice. People of Earth, surrender now, or prepare to face total annihilation. The crowd on the ground erupted into cheers. Fireworks went off. A marching band appeared. Where did they even come from? Someone projected giant subtitles onto the sky. Episode 1, Invasion Imminent. Thraak's eye twitched. We didn't authorize subtitles. And then, because Earth is nothing if not consistent, a drone flew up to their command ship, dragging a banner behind it that read, 10 tenths CGI. Where's the popcorn? The broadcast center aboard the flagship detected millions of simultaneous human data feeds spiking in real time. Some were reviewing the invasion like a movie. Others were rating the ship designs. Not bad. A bit cliché. Where's the tentacle aesthetic? I expected more from an advanced species. 3 stars. And one influencer live-streamed herself pretending to be abducted, complete with green makeup and fake screams. Her followers quadrupled in 5 minutes. By this point, Splarg had curled into a ball and was softly muttering alien prayers. "Commander," he said quietly, "what if this is their warfare?" Thraak's mouth opened, closed, opened again. Because now the humans were inviting them onto their talk shows. Multiple governments, thinking this was some kind of performance art backed by rival nations, began sending formal invitations to the aliens. One world leader even tweeted, "Big fan of your ships. Let's collab sometime," taxed Alien Drip. As the sun began to set over a thoroughly unbothered Los Angeles, someone drove a food truck directly beneath the largest warship. On its roof, a sign lit up in neon green, "Welcome aliens, first taco free." Commander Thraak stared out the viewport. Silence. All around him, his crew waited. No one breathed, no one spoke. Then slowly, cautiously, he leaned in closer. Did they say taco? No one knew yet. But that single question would change everything. Forever. And so began Earth's weirdest war, where no one knew they were fighting, because everyone thought it was just another show. Commander Thraak stood frozen, his 7 eyes blinking out of sync. Behind him, the bridge of the Vroxxian flagship had gone eerily quiet. The War Council stared at the glowing hologram still hovering in the center of the room. An Earth food truck, painted neon pink, blasting mariachi music and offering complimentary salsa samples to passing civilians and orbital invaders. They are feeding us? Thraak whispered, as if saying it too loudly might summon another parade. Splarg, still curled in half-defensive posture, peeked one eye open. Sir, it may be a ritual? Some kind of pre-battle hospitality test? Thraak leaned closer to the projection. On top of the food truck, 2 humans in sparkly jumpsuits were now sword-fighting with oversized churros. A crowd had formed. Applause thundered. Someone threw glitter. And yet, no weapons, no military units, no resistance. Just cheering and snacks. The commander straightened up slowly, the confusion settling into something far more dangerous. Unease. We must proceed with Phase 2. A collective gasp rippled across the bridge. Splarg rose shakily. Phase 2, sir? But that's the psychological disarray protocol. Mind destabilization, mental warfare. Yes, Thraak muttered, clenching his claws. We'll target their communications infrastructure, disrupt their symbols, corrupt their logic. Let's see how they like madness. Moments later, every screen across Earth flickered. Televisions, phones, digital billboards, even smart toasters. The image of Commander Thraak appeared, towering, insectoid, eyes glowing, voice booming. People of Earth, you are now under our mental dominion. Surrender your world, or face a descent into absurdity beyond comprehension. A pause, then chaos, but not the kind Thraak expected. The internet lost its mind. Not in fear, not in panic, in memes. Within minutes, Thraak's fearsome image was photoshopped onto a cat wearing sunglasses. Someone auto-tuned his speech into a remix titled Mental Dominion, Alien Bop Remix. A TikTok dance challenge followed. #HathRockAttack. On national television, a late-night host wore an oversized rubber mask of Thraak's face and did a cooking segment on how to make alien brain stew using avocados and marshmallows. Every attempt at psychological destabilization only made humans more entertained. And then came the final insult. A group of teenage fans launched a petition to make Commander Thraak a playable character in a popular fighting video game. Within hours, it had over 20 million signatures. Back on the ship, Thraak's mandibles trembled. Why aren't they breaking? Why aren't they breaking? He growled, slamming a tentacle into the console. Sir, said a technician quietly, our broadcasts have tripled their dopamine levels. They think this is the best week of their lives. They think we're part of the fun. He grabbed the nearest datapad and scanned the surface feed. A group of humans was now reenacting a fake invasion tribunal, putting a cardboard cutout of Thraak on trial for stealing their hearts. Someone yelled, "We find the alien guilty of being too cute." Cheers, confetti cannons. A child in a shiny costume hugged the cutout and offered it a juice box. Thraak turned slowly in a full circle. What is happening? Splarg, now standing awkwardly next to the tactical console, cleared his throat. Sir, permission to speak freely? Thraak gave him a look that said, my soul is already bleeding. Go ahead. I believe we may have invaded a species that has fully detached itself from linear reality. What does that mean? They don't know the difference between life and fiction anymore. They don't respond to logic, power, or fear. Their primary instinct is content creation. Thraak blinked. They're making us into content? A red alert flared. New incoming broadcast. An Earth entertainment executive was trying to contact them. Officially. Thraak, half expecting another insult to existence itself, accepted the signal. The screen lit up with a smiling woman in a golden blazer and chrome sunglasses. Hi there, Mr. Thraak. Big fan. Listen, we've been watching your vibe, love, the whole Galactic Conqueror aesthetic. So, here's a pitch. Thraak's mouth dropped open. She continued without pause. You get a 6-part docu-series. We follow your crew as you try to conquer Earth. Think Survivor meets RuPaul's Drag Race, but with more lasers. We'll do confession cams, ship drama, maybe a surprise betrayal arc in episode 4. Thoughts? Dead silence on the bridge. Then Thraak turned to his crew. Are we being cast in a reality show? Splarg, without emotion, simply nodded. Yes, Commander, I believe we are. Thraak's claws trembled, not in rage, but in existential collapse. This wasn't a war. This was a season premiere. And worst of all, the ratings were phenomenal. Commander Thraak had seen many things in his life. He had battled the vapor beasts of Varnock 7, survived the psychic storms of the shrill nebula, and once negotiated with a sentient fungus that spoke only in riddles and interpretive dance. But nothing had prepared him for Earth. He stood in silence on the bridge of the flagship, still wearing the ceremonial war cape of his ancestors, now covered in glitter. Actual glitter. It had somehow entered the ventilation system. His war council didn't dare speak. They, too, were speckled with sparkles and shame. The crew's morale was collapsing, not because of defeat, but because they couldn't tell if they were winning or losing. One soldier had refused to leave his quarters after a video surfaced of him being hugged by a grandmother who thought he was a lost Pokemon. Another was last seen being led away by a group of humans offering free chakra realignment and something called kombucha. He hadn't returned. Worse, some of them were starting to enjoy the attention. Splarg was now wearing a souvenir t-shirt that read, "I got beamed up and all I got was this lousy shirt." He claimed it was for intel gathering. Thraak stared at the latest transmission on the main screen. It was baffling. A team of humans had constructed a full-scale replica of the Vrox flagship, entirely out of cardboard and duct tape. It was floating in a lake. Children were climbing on it. One yelled, "Look, I'm the alien captain now," before belly flopping off the roof. The humans had somehow reverse-engineered their design just by guessing. Badly, but close enough to be insulting. And then, oh, stars above, a new update. The Human United Nations had issued a formal decree. Earth would not surrender, but they would happily nominate the Vrox for a Best Guest Villain award at the upcoming Galactic Streaming Awards. There were graphics, there was music, there was confetti. Again, Commander Thraak sat down, slowly, like a collapsing building. What is this place, he whispered. Is this some kind of cursed realm? A simulation? An asylum disguised as a planet? Splarg, now sipping earth soda through a curly straw, shrugged. We've scanned their biology. They're average, fragile even, primitive neurostructures. But their culture? It's like someone fed chaos into a blender with comedy and gave it internet access. Another alert buzzed. An emergency. Finally, something normal. Thraak stood sharply. Report. The technician turned, his face pale. Sir, we've lost control of the drone battalion in Sector 12. Destroyed? No. Worse. They've been reprogrammed. What? By whom? A pause. Then the screen switched. A group of middle school students, ages 11 to 13, stood proudly in front of the drones. They had painted them pink. They had given them names like Sparky and Queen Blasterina. One drone now wore a tutu and fired bubbles. One of the children stepped forward and yelled, "We are now the Robo-Rangers, protectors of Earth." The drones saluted. They actually saluted. Thraak covered his face. We've been outmaneuvered by children. They're very talented, Splarg said helpfully, then ducked when Thraak hurled a data tablet across the room. But the breaking point came hours later, when the gift arrived. An Earth shuttle approached, non-hostile, broadcasting jazz music. It docked gently. A single package was delivered. Inside was a crown, not a weapon, not a bomb, a literal crown made of gold foil, pipe cleaners, and plastic rhinestones. A note was attached. To our alien king, we bow to your vibes. Slay Thraak. Thraak stared at it, then stared into the void, and the void stared back and shrugged. Silence stretched across the bridge. Then someone sneezed glitter. A laugh escaped, then another, and then Commander Thraak began to laugh. A horrible, broken laugh, the kind of laugh that echoed through alternate dimensions and made stars blink uncomfortably. They've done it, he whispered, shaking. They've broken my mind. Splarg nodded. Yes, sir, mine too. You know what the worst part is? Thraak said, voice trembling. What? I think I like the crown. A long silence. It really brings out your ocular glow, Splarg offered. Another alert buzzed. More fan mail. Someone had written a love song about Thraak's tentacles. It had hit #1 on Earth's charts. Thraak collapsed into his war chair. Dear galaxies, what have we done? We thought we were invading a primitive planet, but we've walked straight into a reality vortex, a carnival of madness, an empire of irony. He looked around the bridge. No one argued, because deep down, they all knew. They hadn't come to conquer Earth. Earth had conquered them. Commander Thraak stood in the center of the Vroxxian War Council chamber, surrounded by his highest-ranking officers, all of whom now wore some form of Earth merchandise. One had a foam finger. Another was sipping from a cup that said, #1 Alien Baddie. And Splarg had gotten a tattoo, a real one. It read, "Live, Laugh, Laser" in cursive human font. The war was over, not because Earth had won in battle, but because Earth had never realized there was a war. The final decision had come after the now infamous Galactic Talent Night, when the humans challenged the Vrox to a friendly cultural exchange to foster peace and maybe get some dope content. What followed was a 3-hour live stream in which an alien biocommander performed spoken-word poetry about the futility of cosmic domination, while a human juggled flaming cheeseburgers behind him, and a mariachi band did backup vocals. It reached 4 billion views in 12 hours, and that's when it hit Thraak. They weren't fighting a species. They were trapped in a global improv show with no script and no exit. The humans didn't resist. They responded. With memes, music, pranks, dance-offs, fan fiction, conspiracy podcasts, impromptu musicals, and cake pops shaped like Thraak's head. They didn't counterattack. They invited the Vrox to brunch. So here he stood, broken, exhausted, and slightly sticky from an earlier incident involving whipped cream and a TikTok challenge he refused to acknowledge. He looked around the chamber. "We have no choice," he said softly. "Prepare the fleet." One general perked up. "To fire? No," Thraak growled. "To flee." A gasp. "You mean?" "Yes." His voice dropped into a grim whisper. "We leave this planet immediately, and we never, ever come back." "But what will we tell the Emperor?" Thraak didn't answer. He just pointed at the live Earth feed playing on the wall. It was a news segment. In it, a human anchor smiled brightly as she announced, "Coming up next, our exclusive behind-the-scenes look at the alien mothership, hosted by influencer Lil Starmuffin and her emotional support raccoon, Jeff." The anchor winked. Jeff squeaked. Thraak turned off the screen. Ready the hyperdrive. But it wasn't that easy. As the ships began preparations for departure, the humans threw a farewell party. Without being told, without being invited. They just knew. Thousands gathered across cities, waving goodbye banners and shooting fireworks into the sky. Musicians played epic orchestral music from rooftops. Children released balloons shaped like Vroxxian warships. And worst of all, someone had written a musical number. It was called "Don't Go Glowbug" and featured interpretive dance, a tap solo, and a dramatic crescendo where the entire cast sang. We thought they came to break us, but instead they just remade us. Oh, alien kings with sparkly wings, you've truly, truly slayed us. Thraak's eye twitched. Why are they singing to us? I think it's their version of diplomacy, Splarg replied, tears in his eyes. It's beautiful. It's deranged. The ships began to rise. People waved. Some cried. One guy proposed to his girlfriend right in front of the mothership, using Thraak's face as a backdrop. She said yes. The crowd erupted in cheers. Thraak slammed the button to close the viewports. But it was too late. The humans had already named the retreating fleet on social media. It was trending. Bye-bye Buggos. That's what history would remember them as. Not conquerors, not monsters, just confused space insects who couldn't handle humanity's weaponized whimsy. Thraak collapsed into the command chair. Set course for literally anywhere else. Coordinates? Surprise me. The fleet warped out with a pop, leaving behind a planet still partying like it had just hosted the Interstellar Olympics. Silence fell on the bridge. For a moment, there was peace. Then Splarg turned. Sir? Thraak didn't respond. There's something you should see. He handed over a data screen. Thraak read it once, then twice. He let out a long, painful sigh, because somehow, impossibly, even in the depths of space, Earth had followed them. A human influencer had stowed away aboard a cargo module. She had already started vlogging. Hey guys, day 1 aboard the alien mothership. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Today we're doing an unboxing of Vrox rations and maybe a surprise slime challenge. Thraak dropped the screen. His eye twitched. He looked into the void. The void laughed. And somewhere in the darkness, the words echoed. Coming soon? Earthlings Gone Wild, the Galactic Tour.